This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening. The state government is coming under intense scrutiny over the resignation of Tasmania's most senior public servant, Greg Yohannes. Labor and the Greens attacking the Premier, questioning conflicting statements and the true reasons behind his departure.
The Premier fighting off suggestions the head of the public service was pushed from his position.
No. Look, he said he went of his own choosing, and that is the case.
On Thursday, Greg Yohannes resigned after 15 years in the sector.
A long-serving public servant held in very high regard by all sides of politics.
Questions now about a statement from the Premier saying Mr Yohannes had offered his resignation. 15 minutes later, the word offered was removed. A revised statement just saying he had resigned.
It's really hard to believe what comes out of the mouth of Liberals because of the history of the past 3.5 years. So now we have two different official versions.
It's about time the Premier took responsibility for this matter and told the Tasmanian people the whole truth around this matter.
I think you're perhaps reading a lot more into this than you should. This is not unusual for statements to be reissued. And
a recent Auditor-General report outlined issues of nepotism within the public service. The Premier's response was to order Mr Yohannes to remedy the issue and implement best practice processes.
It displayed a lack of courage to throw your secretary effectively under the bus.
He is in charge of the public service. These cultural problems stem from his weak leadership.
He goes with not only the thanks of my government, but I'm sure previous governments and the broader state service for what he's done.
Mr Yohannes will finish up in the role on Monday. Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
And a severe thunderstorm warning was issued in Tasmania as wild weather swept over parts of the state. The skies darkened this afternoon with flashes of lightning as storm clouds rolled in. They released heavy downpours across the southern Midlands and Greater Hobart area. It caused minor flash flooding in some areas. State-based domestic violence orders can now be enforced across the country with a national coordinated scheme put in place. The announcement coming on White Ribbon Day, raising awareness and funds to prevent violence against women.
An all-girls skate crew was out shredding today for a good cause. The Skate for 8, raising funds for White Ribbon.
We just skate for 8 hours pretty much, and some of the girls, the riders have been sponsored to be out here for all day.
Led by 10-year-old Annika, who says stamping out violence against women should start early.
When it turns into big domestic violence, it just starts when you're about my age and boys think it's okay to call girls names. Regardless of what,
the end tally is, it's more what we've achieved or what she's achieved, putting it out there, raising awareness, especially in the young, women in our community.
The Skateathon, one of several White Ribbon events raising awareness and funds to prevent violence against women. Action on that front today with authorities announcing a national scheme. New domestic violence orders will now be enforceable in every other state and territory, filling a gap when victims travelled.
It was only enforceable in the state or territory in which it was sought. So the process would have to be that you would have to take out a fresh application. You can imagine the distress that can cause.
Over the last 10 years, reports of family violence have increased. There were 3,098 reports in the last year.
It could be put down to the fact that more people are reporting family violence, they are seeking help.
The battle against the scourge gaining some young allies at the skate park today. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
A flash of music and colour hit the streets of Launceston for this year's Christmas parade. The event put a smile on thousands of faces and drew enormous cheers for the star of the show, Father Christmas.
A loud, grand entrance over the horizon sent families into frenzied excitement. Christmas coming to town.
What's your favourite part about Christmas?
Getting all together, getting the presents.
Looking forward to seeing the stormtroopers, if they're here this year. Skipping, Santa, and basically everything else.
My favourite bits are the boats and the people dressed up as gingerbread men.
Dozens of floats set sail down the streets, some distinctly Aussie. But this year's official theme, Around the World, meant there was also a global twist. Animals got in on the action, from dogs to, well, whatever this thing is.
Yip, 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 yip. Christmas, Christmas.
Before anticipation reached breaking point. All eyes turned to the one character stealing the show.
Merry Christmas to everybody!
Father Christmas waving and smiling for scores of children.
Tell me about Christmas. What do you love about it?
Because I get to see my family all the time.
Last week we had the Christmas tree lighting, now we have this parade, and then hopefully people really understand the joy and look out for each other in this Christmas time.
Organisers say they are thrilled with the turnout, a perfect start to the festive season. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Multicultural Tasmanians now have a place to practice their culture, with a new hub officially launched in Moona today. The area will be used for cultural celebrations, worship and community education.
This colourful building now a welcoming and safe place for Tasmania's multicultural community. It's right in the middle of the state's most multicultural region, with over 1,200 people from different parts of the world settling here between 2010 and 2015.
This tends to be where humanitarian entrants come and settle, so there is a large group of new arrivals here in Hobart.
This multiculturalism promotes tolerance, promotes understanding and therefore acceptance in the community.
The Moona Hub, a place to practice culture through education, celebration and worship.
It's a great honour to be part of and become a member and share our diversity and come closer to all the people with such a colourful and happy people to meet with.
Many migrant community organisations actually provide heaps of support to new arrivals. So we have, for example, the Tamil community who have been here since the 1970s, but they're now providing really important support for new arrivals.
The centre is an initiative of the Multicultural Council of Tasmania with support from government and council.
It's really important that people can both embrace all of the aspects of Australian society, but still not forget and be able to celebrate the great things about their culture.
Meanwhile, Moona Primary School also taking part in cultural activities and around the world feast organised for members of the school community.
We have students from so many different countries who are here with us, very, very proud of their heritage, and we're very, very excited and proud of the diversity that we have.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
A team of moustache-toting cyclists barrelled down from the Great Lakes today. The Tour de Mo set off from Lyawini to Hobart as part of Movember efforts. Around 80 cyclists took part in the 200-kilometre ride with the hopes of raising tens of thousands of dollars for men's health. The 100-year history of the Tasmanian Motorcycle Club has been chronicled in a new book. 100 Clicks tells the story of motorcycling from its very beginning, when riders joined together to share their knowledge and expertise.
So forming a club that encouraged a lot of people with mechanical skills and things to develop, it was very handy. So they got together and helped each other and were very, very active in lobbying in the early days.
Especially in its founding years, the club was home to society's wealthy and most influential people. The author has spent nearly a decade researching the club's history for the book.
Tasmania's AFL Draft drought has been broken after Hugh Dixon was taken with pick 44 last night. Fremantle snapping up the tall forward, who has had a standout year with the Kingborough Tigers.
With pick 44, Fremantle selected Hugh Dixon from Tigers Football Club. Hawthorn are on the clock.
Well, the first Tasmanian selected, a boy that really dominated early in the year in the Academy Series, Mick. MVP for Tassie in that.
Dixon says he wants to build on his running capacity in the upcoming pre-season. Tasmania is on the verge of winning its first Sheffield Shield game of the season. George Bailey, the fire starter, knocking up 86 with the Willow. South Australia is at 5 for 119, nearing stumps on day 3.
A captain's knock from George Bailey right when his side needed it. With the Redbacks on the ropes, Bailey brought his best.
And that brings up George Bailey's 50.
Bailey stayed while his teammates went. Jack Doran couldn't repeat his brilliant figure from the first innings.
This time in, hit him on the pad, big appeal and he's gone.
He went for 23. Bailey fell just shy of his own century, nicking one to slips on 86. Matthew Wade went to work, belting a statement sixer.
They all look back at the umpire. He's got the full dose.
Before coming unstuck straight after, gone for 14. Ben McDermott next to go, skying this to the slip. Bo Webster was trapped LBW by Adam Zampa before Tom Rogers took aim at the stands.
Oh, Rogers again. This time goes big. Goes real big.
His sixer, the last highlight of the innings. Sam Rainbird caught soon after for 21. The ball coming down with snow on it.
And an entertaining little innings from Sam Rainbird.
A bouncer ended Tasmania's innings, the Tigers setting South Australia a target of 385. Gabe Bell started well in return, taking the first 2 wickets. John Dalton gone for 12, then Jake Weatherald.
He's got Weatherald plumb in front.
The icing on the cake ahead of the final day, danger man Travis Head taken by Rainbird for 31. The Tigers now within reach of an outright win tomorrow.
Jordan Garner has competition at the top of the Tasmanian Open Golf Championship. Garner carded 2 over par today to go neck and neck with Billy Cawthorne. Meanwhile, Grace Kim has extended her lead in the Women's Championship. Kim carded a 3 under par round of 67 to lead her nearest rival by 11 strokes. The final round of play is on tomorrow. And finally, the start of the wakeboard season was full of thrills and spills as competitors hit the Derwent for the opening round of the summer series. National title holder Andrew Bennett came out on top in the men's, while Sarah Wells took out the women's final.
Kicking off the wakeboarding summer series, making waves in the Derwent. 25 competitors judged on intensity, composition and execution.
Basically the first round of the season, so everyone's sort of getting into the swing of things. Great day for it, so it's excellent.
Hobart's Jesse Mason got some massive air on his first run in the men's finals, but the next attempt saw him lose the line. Launceston's Nigel Curran had a clean and consistent first run, but the second run ended in a splash and 3rd place. Hobart's Ryan Bean packed the course, squeezing in 4 moves a run. The second including an impressive 360 and staying up and in control despite the hard landing, earning 2nd spot. Devonport's Andy Bennett the one to watch with a national title under his belt. After 2 big jumps, the final was too much to land. The second run was a strong and clean execution, landing 1st place. Another run at Nationals, a potential.
It's always hard to actually get over there with the finances and all that sort of stuff, so we'll just wait and see next year how it fits in. But yeah, these competitions are always good to practice, I suppose.
In the women's, Sarah Wells impressed the judges, taking out the top spot at the start of the season.
Pretty consistent. I'd like to be learning some more tricks, but yeah, we'll see how I go.
Brianna Hill and Madeline Bennett taking out 2nd and 3rd respectively. Trevalen is the next stop in the series in January. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Good evening. We saw scattered showers statewide today with afternoon thunderstorms and a freak storm in Hobart. Hobart and Devonport both reached 23 degrees. It was 26 in Launceston and 22 in Burnie. Flinders Island had the state's high of 30 degrees. It was 27 at Ouse, 26 at Strawn, 22 at Wynyard and St Helens, while Lowhead, Maria Island and Friendly Beaches all reached a top of 20 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite images, there were patches of middle and high-level cloud over southeastern Australia, with some thunderstorms visible over the Northern Territory and WA. Closer in, middle and high cloud over the state, with some convective cloud and thunderstorms developing over much of the south this afternoon. Tomorrow, the chart shows a trough to the west coast of the state extending into central Australia. A high-pressure system ridges into the Bight from the west, driving a second trough approaching us from further west. On the waters, north to northeasterly winds 10 to 20 knots, seas 1 to 2 metres. It's going to be a wet one tomorrow. Showers expected in Hobart with a top of 23, showers and 25 for Richmond and Ouse. Launceston showers, 25 the top, showers for Devonport 21, Deloraine 22. In the northwest, more showers, Burnie 21, Strawn 23, Curry on King Island 22. St Helens and Swansea both 23 with showers expected, Whitemark 25. UV a very high 8 in Hobart, 10 for the rest of the state. Looking ahead to next week, Monday, showers statewide with possible afternoon thunderstorms in the south and east. Tuesday, fine apart from possible morning showers about coastal areas in the southwest and east. And Wednesday, hot with a possible shower in the northeast. Around the country tomorrow, showers for Brisbane, 29 the top, Sydney a partly cloudy 27 and 29 degrees with showers and storms for Melbourne.
That's all your news for now. Thanks for joining us. Good night.